Hi everyone, welcome to Border Text with stewiejp. I'm Stewie and this is Leguna from Tim Clan. Laguna's running around in his WZ-132. It's an awesome little tank. I've had mine for a while but haven't played that many games in it, but have a look at it. It looks pretty cool, and obviously Laguna absolutely loves this tank. He's already got himself 2 marks of excellence, and if the next 2 replays are anything to go by, he'll be picking up his 3rd mark of excellence before too long. Now he's on Malinovka, which is a pretty good map for spotting, and he's got himself into a very handy spotting position. You can see every tank that's been spotted has been spotted by Laguna. Looks like he hasn't picked up any spotting damage yet. Now he has. That AMX 1390 is regretting going up to that bush, and Laguna, as he sees the tier 8 French tank backing off, he goes a little bit forward to get himself a little bit more opportunities to spot. Now he holds back here. He doesn't shoot because he knows if he shoots that light tank he might do a bit of damage, but he'll be lit up and probably get shot by all of those tank destroyers. And in the end he does shoot, because that 1390 was getting pretty close, and he'd be pretty disappointed in his team. I reckon that 1390 probably stayed alive a little bit longer than he should, and that's forced Laguna to pull out of that nice aggressive spotting position. And of course the bat chat wasn't quick enough to get out of his sniping position while he was shooting at the tier 8 French light tank. Now it's a standard battle on Malinovka, and Leguna from Team Clan, he's already picked up 425 hit points of spotting damage, and he's going to be looking for some more. So he's getting into these bushes, trying to light up those TDs again. Now he knows that the T71 was last seen back here, and that T71 is the only remaining light tank on the enemy side. So what the T71 is doing back there, I don't know. He's definitely not going to spot much. He gets a spot on the bat chat, puts a shell into him, but he gets lit in the process. He's going to hold back and try and get another shot off before he moves under cover. WZ-132 is often compared to the T54 lightweight, and is similar in a lot of ways. It looks quite similar, and hasn't got a bad gun. He's got APCR loaded, which does 250 hit points of damage a shot, penetration of 244, which isn't bad for tier 8. But bearing in mind, you're going to come up against tier 10 tanks, and some of those big tier 10 heavy tanks you just don't want to be engaging them, especially if you're on your own. Standard ammunition only has 189 hit points of penetration, which probably would have been enough to shoot that bat chat, but he doesn't want to take any chances. He wants to try and get rid of that top tier medium tank, because that bat chat along with the T62A have pushed towards Laguna's base, and you'd imagine they would be out visioning that type 5 heavy who's sort of guarding the base all on his own. He does have backup from these artilleries, I suppose. And Laguna now looking for some more spots on those. Maybe those tank destroyers are still camping. The T49's got himself into a nice aggressive position there. He's not quite on full health, but he's almost on full health. Laguna looking for a shot into the side of the tier 9 German heavy tank, the E75. The shot goes a little bit wide, but you can't blame him for that. So he's got normal ammunition loaded now, just looking for opportunistic shots, as well as maybe some spots on the enemy side. It's a bit of a game of patience here. Gets a shell into the Conway, does 265 damage to the tier 9 British tank destroyer. Lucky it's still lit, because artillery was indicating that he was firing on the Conway. Gets nearly 200 spotting damage on the Waffenträger Alf Panzer IV, the tier 9 German tank destroyer with a massive gun, and someone else puts another 500 hit points of damage into Waffenträger. A nice sneaky shot into the side of his hull, and he'd dearly like to take that tank out of the game before they start pushing on that Type 5 heavy. And that Batchat, who was down with the T62A down near the base, is obviously relocated back up to here. And he's already had not a bad game. He's already done nearly 2,000 hit points of damage. Now over 2,000 hit points of damage, and he's done a little bit of spotting damage, 620, but Leguna is just getting warmed up. If he wants to get another mark of excellence on this tank, he's going to have to do a little bit more than that. It is a tier 10 game, so he's rightfully being conservative in his tier 8 light tank. His side is down by 2. Looking for another shot on that T62A. I don't know if that's going to pen. It is a medium tank, but it's not. It's reasonably heavily armoured for a medium tank, the T62A. Probably, apart from maybe the E50M, it's probably the most heavily armoured medium tank at tier 10. I'm sure someone will correct me if I'm wrong. It's known for its bouncy turret anyway. There's that Batchat again. Batchat gets taken out by the T49. The T49 does take some damage in return, and you can see probably the downside of the Chinese light tank is it does take a while to aim, especially if you're moving. Yeah, he gets some more assisted damage into that T62 because whether he spotted him or not's irrelevant. That T62A was tracked when that Type 5 Heavy put some big shots into it, or maybe it was the Waffentrager. So that brings the score back to 3 apiece. So it's back to an even ball game now. That T49 still in a really nice aggressive position. I love that position here in a light tank. You've really got to be careful. He's on, what's he on? 651 hit points of health, that T49. Which is not much more than Leguna in his WZ-132. Now I'm told the WZ-132 has the best view range of the light tanks. Could be wrong. I know the German one's got a pretty good view range. Puts 2 shots into the PZ-58 Mustang, the German premium medium tank, before killing him, bringing his damage up to over 3,000 hit points. Damages and tracks that T71, who went absolutely YOLO. Why would a T71 YOLO a Type 5 Heavy? I'll never know. If he was trying to get spots on him, then well done. But to YOLO like that was just suicide. Maybe he had something better to do. Probably because his platoon mate was already killed, he probably wanted to go and make a sandwich. Now, still a bit of a tense wait off here. Great patience being shown by both sides. The IS-7, one IS-7 gets killed, and then another IS-7 gets killed. One from each side, both killed by the T-92s. Don't see that very often, within seconds of each other. Tier 10 heavy tank on both sides been taken out of the game. They'd love to get some spots on that Conway. Pretty sure that Conway was on pretty low health, and that's exactly where Laguna's aiming right now. Now he's picked himself up 1 kill. He's done 3,500 hit points of damage and 2,500 hit points of assisted damage. That's spotting and damage done by tracks. Moves a little bit forward into these bushes, trying to get some spots onto whatever might be camping the base. The Type 5 Heavy on Laguna's side is staying behind the safety of those buildings, because as soon as he gets slit, artillery will be looking at him, because it's a massive target, the Type 5 Heavy. Letting his teammate know where he thinks all the enemy tanks are. You'd think the Type 5 Heavy would comfortably be able to push onto that Tier 9 German tank destroyer, but the Type 5 Heavy, you can see, he's only on 553 hit points, so he's quite rightfully staying behind cover, because any one of those artilleries, and there's 3 of them on the enemy side, would love to shoot the big Tier 10 Japanese heavy tank. Now there's only just over 5.5 minutes left in this game. 7-6 is the score as the AMX-30 gets killed by the Grill, and that AMX-30 I think was not too far from sort of where that Centurion 7-1 is. And Leguna giving his team the best advice he can give them: stop dying. Get the impression, or you get the feeling, that some of those deaths were unnecessary. Looking at the mini-map, The E-100 was last spotted up here. 2 tank destroyers last spotted here. The Conway last spotted here. I'd be surprised if the Conway's still here. That T-49 surely would spot him if he had been there. So you'd imagine the Conway's probably pulled back to where the artillery's and the heavy tanks are. The T-92 has been spotted over there, and you'd think at least one of these arties would be looking to maybe counter battery these enemy artilleries, because there's 3 of them, which represents not much less than half the enemy side. Now Laguna's loaded high explosive ammunition here, and that's because you can get a little bit more damage, even though the penetration's only 50. That's probably all he'd need to take out that Waffenträger. Unlucky to miss that shot. Does he get deep? Yes, he does. He takes a damaging shot from the Tier 9 German tank destroyer. Only for 245 hit points of damage, which doesn't sound like much. Maybe he was firing high explosive as well. And Artie does the job and sends the Waffenträger Panzer IV back to the garage. And now Laguna hugging this building as if his life depends on it, because it does. And hoping that the enemy Artie isn't going to shoot him. So he waits a bit of time because when a tank gets killed, they can spot for a couple more seconds. Waits, moves through this window in this building, so he's got a little bit of cover, but he wants his binoculars to fire up and try and get some spots. Fires around in the general direction of the artillery. He hasn't got a shot on that Conway. That Conway, he was back there. I reckon he might have been just pulled back into those bushes maybe. Now it's only 3 and a bit minutes left in this game. Something needs to happen. 8-6 is the score. Laguna's side is winning, and he's going on. Bit of a hero run, you might say, but he's 2 marks of excellence. He reckons he'd have quite a few battles in this tank. He'd have a pretty good camo rating, I would imagine, and so he's getting amongst these bushes to make sure he doesn't get spotted, but to try and fire up his binoculars and get some spots on the enemy team. I think he probably needs to be in the bushes though. He can't see through some of those bushes. Probably needs to be in them to get the spots. T-49's moving forward slowly. The T-49's done a really good job to stay alive this long. He's also got himself a kill. And you can see Laguna from Tim Clan. He's given himself, so far, 3,500 hit points of damage, 2,634 assisted damage. That's through tracking tanks and also spotting them. STRV-103B, the big Tier 10 Swedish meatball tank, takes out the Conway, who was relatively wounded. You can see the E-100 still stuck behind that church up on the northern side of the map, which tells me that any tank this side of the E-100 is going to be a soft target for anything. The 2-minute siren goes off with the score at 9-7 as that T-49 finally gets taken out of the game. And these tanks need to forget about this E-100, go after all these soft targets. Apart from the T-30, the Grill and the 3 artilleries are all going to be up here somewhere, and they're all going to be tanks that are going to be really easy to penetrate and pretty easy to damage. T-30 gets taken out by the Conqueror. Now, is he going to stick a toe on the cap circle? He hasn't yet. He's just waiting. No, he's not going to wait. He's going to get into this next bush, and there's that T-92 again. Is he going to shoot or is he going to hold back? He's holding back. Lets artillery do the work, and then there's that E-100 again. With only a minute to go, there's not going to be enough time to cap. Let's see if someone else joins him on the cap. 11-7 is the score. And that big German heavy tank, the E-100, that could be the key to this game. Only on 652 hit points. Capping could be the answer here. Laguna sees the GW Tiger. He gets lit. He actually got lit before he fired that shot. Puts a second shot into the German artillery piece. There's 36 seconds left. Now there's a minute left. He shoots and sets on fire the Grill. 13-8 is the score with 20 seconds to go. Can they get rid of that French artillery as well as the E-100? In the light tank, he's doing the right thing in his light tank and going to get rid of that pesky French auto-loading artillery. Auto aims, shoots. Is he going for the drown? Is he going for the drown, or is he just hiding? Conqueror kills the E-100, and the Centurion on the last minute, the last second of the battle, takes out the French artillery. And in the end, an absolutely awesome game from Leguna, from Tim Clan, picking himself up an Ace Tanker Mastery Badge. He also picked up his Spotter Medal for doing all that spotting damage, Bruiser, Arsonist for destroying a vehicle by setting it on fire, that'll be the grill, and the Fire for Effect for doing more damage to enemy vehicles than the hit points of his own vehicle. Of course, he picked up the Scout and the Patrol Duty Medal, no surprise there with all those tanks and the spotting damage he did, as well as the Confederate for hitting more enemy vehicles than any other player on his team. As we look at the second page of the post-game battle results, 4,725 hit points of damage for his 2 kills gave him a base experience score of 1,719. That's absolutely massive, and that's because of his 4,725 damage done and 3,135 spotting damage, which is absolutely awesome. Did cost him a bit of coin though, because most of the ammunition he fired was premium ammunition, but you can see it was a good win. That came right down to the last second. The game went for exactly 15 minutes, and that's when that last enemy tank was killed. An absolute ripper game from Leguna, from Tim Clan in his Chinese light tank, the WZ-132. As we move on to game number 2 in this double shot of Chinese Tier 8 light tank action, it's another game from Leguna, and this time you can see he's still got 2 marks of excellence, and if he gets another couple of games like he did earlier, that 3rd mark of excellence won't be far away at all, that's for sure. In this replay, we're on Fiery Stallion, a newer version of Prokhorovka. It's not that new, it's been around for a while now, and he's gone a big spotting run. 7 tanks I counted then, and I reckon he lit up all of them. That's just about half the enemy side lit up in the first 30 seconds of the game. And he's not finished yet, he's just going for one more run just to make sure there isn't anything else worth lighting up. Maybe getting a cheeky shot in too, but he needs to be careful. It's only a Tier 9 game, this one. The last game was a Tier 10 game. But even so, he's still in the light tank. And there's even a few Tier 7 tanks in this game, which will be easy money for the WZ-132. So early on, he hasn't picked up any spotting damage yet, going by the spotting damage counter on the bottom left of the screen. But he has lit all 7 tanks, I reckon, he's spotted all 7 tanks that have been lit as he moves over to the western flank. Nice thirsty work commentating on games like this, and Leguna is not finished yet. He's still on full health, but full health in a Tier 9 game is only 1,150 hit points, so he needs to be relatively careful. He's looking for a kill shot on the little spick, and he gets it. But he cops a shot from the AT-15. But he's picked up his first kill, and he's got a shot into the Scorpion G, as well as some spotting damage. So he wants to make sure that that Scorpion G keeps lit, so he keeps getting the spotting damage. And it looks like he might be safe enough to take shots. So he picks up kill number 2. 2 out of 2 kills to Leguna in the WZ-132. And will this be number 3? Direct dials green. Go! There you go. Kill number 3. 3 out of 3. This isn't going to be one of those replays where one bloke gets all 15 kills in it. Let's see. Imagine that. I'll be well famous, I reckon, if someone sent me a replay like that. But here we go. Now he's not done shooting yet. So here's an opportunity to put some shots into the sides of these heavy tanks that are trundling up the hill. Puts a shot into the WZ-111, the premium Chinese heavy tank. And looking for a shot on the side of the turret of the low. That one goes a little bit high, I think. There were some obstacles between Leguna and the heavy tank. And now it looks like he's got a nice easy shot into the side of the turret of the T-54, who was totally focused on those heavy tanks in the east. 3-zip is still the score. And Laguna's picked up 1,463 hit points of damage, as well as 1,263 spotting damage for his 3 kills. And he's only going to add to this one. What can he see? Can he get a shot on that low? He's moving his aim circle around, trying to find the highlighted edges of that tank. They're all. There's a few houses there. Maybe put a shot into the houses. It's going to cost you a lot of ammunition to knock all those houses down, though. Let's see what he does. Fiery salient. There's the low's been lit up again. Doesn't look like he got the spotting damage on that. 3-1's the score. Leguna's still the only player with kills on this team. There's all these heavy tanks playing like snipers. I'm glad there's no artillery, because those heavy tanks would just be sitting ducks for those artillery pieces, if they were there. Blind shots towards the WZ. And realises nothing's really lit, so he thinks, well, I'm a light tank, I'm going to start lighting these bricks up again. Already got myself 3 kills and a little bit of damage, but something needs to happen. You'd think that these tanks would go forward, and that's why he's pinging him. You'd think they'd go forward. There's about 4 of them up there against 2 heavily wounded heavy tanks, and those heavy tanks aren't even top tier. It's the WZ-132 and the low, both tier 8. There's also a T10 there, but he's only on 448 hit points. It's not going to take too much to get that T10 down and out of the game. Still struggling for shots on the German premium tank. Just not quite accurate enough, and I think he might be behind a mound. The low puts a shot. Where'd that shot go? Looks like that shot went straight into the side of his turret. So he needs to be a little bit careful here. 3-1 is still the score. No, still no one else on Leguna's side's picked up a kill. A lot of pinging of the map going on. Everyone wants to be a sniper, including that T-34. Unlucky for that shot on the T-34 to hit the dirt, but the Scorpion G snipes the kill from the hill, and Leguna picks up a little bit more assisted damage. He thinks he can see shots on these tanks. They're just moving a little bit too quick for the Chinese gun. Nothing wrong with the Chinese gun, but it just lacks a bit of accuracy. Bit of damage going into those tanks now, and that T10 gets taken out of the game, as does the WZ-132. Finally gets a shot on the low, but it bounces. Again, searching for a shot on that low that's going to do damage to him. You'd think it'd be safe now for those people on the hill just to push into him, especially now he's down to 323 hit points. Leguna would desperately love to pick himself up a 4th kill. The Scorpion does its job though, and takes out the German heavy tank. Scorpion G gets lit, and Leguna puts a shot into it, but he gets lit in the process, probably by that AMX-30, or maybe AMX-1375 is still down there. High explosive shell goes in for 81 hit points. He's still tracked, but T-54 picks up the kill, and that AMX-30 gets killed as well. So 9-1 is now the score. Leguna's side now comfortably winning 9-1. Finally, a few other players have picked up some kills, and Leguna picks up kill number 4, taking out the Tier 7 French tank, the AMX-1375. Always handy to get an autoloader out of the game, and he puts the call out to attack. Yeah, he needs to be careful with this Tier 9 German tank destroyer. He's hoping that he's not spotted. He shouldn't be. That push isn't in a bad spot at all. Loads high explosive, does nearly 300 hit points of damage to the German TD, but not so lucky with that shot, only doing another 89. And he's going to hide behind the wreck of his Scorpion mate. Another shell towards the Scorpion goes wide, and now he's looking for more opportunities on these tank destroyers. Waits for his binoculars to fire up again, hoping they'll be lit. He's only 601 hit points of health. He probably doesn't want to go charging towards him, because that Scorpion G or the Tier 9 Waffle Trait Alf Panzer 4 could both do a significant amount of damage to him and take him down to a one-shot. Lucky enough not to get spotted there, and he takes out the premium tank, Ash Angel, Scorpion G, the Tier 8 German tank destroyer, and that leaves, looking at the map, that's the only place where they've just been pinging there, that's the only place these tanks can be left. And have a look at this, top tier, tier 4 heavy. This is what we love about World of Tanks on the Asian server. Top tier, tier 4 heavy, camping at the back on Fiery Salient. That's an absolute disgrace. But 14-2 is the score. He's picked himself up a top gun here, because he picked up the kill on that Type 4 heavy. And now he's looking for another kill, shooting towards the Jag Tiger. Jag Tiger's not aiming his way, so he can safely move forward, especially while it's tracked. And bang, he picks up kill number 7 and wins the game 15-2. What an absolute ripper from Leguna, from Team Clan. He loves his WZ-132. That one gave him not only an ace tanker, but also the spotter for all that spotting damage he did. Bruiser, fire for effect, the top gun, because he got 7 kills, and the scout medal. Have a look at all those tanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 14 out of the 15 tanks he spot. That is unbelievable scouting. Even though it didn't look like he was that aggressive, he was aggressive enough to spot 14 out of the 15 enemy tanks and do a heap of spotting damage and a heap of damage himself. Only getting beaten on damage by the Scorpion G, and that was only by 700. And bear in mind, the Scorpion G's got a gun that does 500 odd hit points of damage each shot. Leguna in his WZ-132, 3,896 hit points of damage. He fired 34 shots. A few of them were blind shots, and a few of them didn't really have much of a target, but you've got to go for those shots anyway. 21 shots hit, 19 of those shots did damage. 7 kills, 3,896 hit points of damage. Bit of it was sniped, but look at that, 4,860 spotting damage. That's absolutely massive. Again, cost him a bit of coin because there was a bit of premium ammunition there, but all in all, a base experience score of 1,919 base experience. That is one of the best experience scores I've seen in a long while. 1,919 base experience, and that was enough for the Ace Tanker Mastery Badge on Fiery Salient from Leguna from Team Clan. 2 awesome replays, very different, but both very, very good games. Leguna from Team Clan, 2 Ace Tanker games with his WZ-132, the Tier 8 Chinese light tank. Thanks to the replays, Leguna, they're absolutely awesome. Sorry for the length of the video, everyone, but two pretty good games featuring the popular Tier 8 Chinese light tank. Thanks for watching, take care, and see you all next time.